Hey YouTube, this is your boy Big G with another review. So yesterday, I believe, yesterday, not today, sorry. So yesterday I watched Iron Man, and I started watching Iron Man because what I wanted to do is do the whole Marvel MCU universe to sequence and watch one movie after the other and just go back to it, revisit it, relive it, and do reviews as I go. So I watched Iron Man 2 yesterday, and it was really nice to see how it all began. I mean, the first Iron Man movie. That this movie is the storyline is very simple. Like Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Tony Stark is not yet an Iron Man yet. He's not a mad genius. He's a genius. He's billionaire. He's wrapped in gold and not gold, but wrapped in money and fame and technology. And his company is a weapons manufacturer company. Now, based on the little history video that we see at the starting, we see that how after his father's passing, Tony was very young. So his, I think, friend and partner took over the company and sort of saw it through till Tony became of age, and he invested a lot of time and I wouldn't say money, but a lot of time and hard work into that company. Odias, I think his name is. So Odias, right off the bat, the storyline I think is very simple, is very natural, and is very good, because the storyline is basically your father figure of a partner who's been running the company pretty much wants all of the cake and not just half of it or whatever part of it, and has been doing dealings under the table for a really long time, and now slowly and heavily Tony's been finding out, and he finds out and eventually has to face him and kill him because Adias sort of turns super maniac, which I had a problem with. I mean, um, from the very start, yeah, Tony Stark is he's very rich and powerful and dripping with technology, and sort of very naive, and he just go waltz into Middle East just to make a little demonstration, and then he's like, oh, it's totally fine. He's holding a little scotch or bourbon while with the soldiers and having a chat, and all of a sudden gets attacked. And yeah, the main part that happens to him is at the starting of the movie, where he is told to stay in the car, but he doesn't stay in the car. He goes outside, and as soon as he goes outside, he is hit by a bomb comes down. He sees it's a Stark Industry bomb. A bomb comes down, it hits the ground, and it doesn't, like, apparently bombs don't blow up right away. So it hits the ground and then it blows up after a second. So he has that second to look at the bomb, and he sees that it is a Stark Industry bomb, and then it blows up right in front of him. So the pieces of metal, shreds of metal that come off of the bomb go into him pretty much, who happens to be the closest, and he's on the verge of dying. But what the attackers, or aka terrorists, do is they get him and they fix him up with the help of another scientist who becomes Tony's friend over time. They fix him up. They want him to make them. They don't kill him as they were told to. They keep him. They have him make bombs, and instead, them being very naive again, very sort of stupid in a sense, where they're monitoring him and they see him make a robot and not a bomb. I mean, I understand not everyone's a genius and a tech inventor and whatnot, but you can tell a difference between someone making a bomb and someone making a or missile, or someone making a missile versus someone making a suit of armor. So they save Tony, and the way they save Tony, and which will translate throughout Tony's life from now on, is they make sort of this magnet, or sort of the scientist who saves him makes sort of this magnet that is powered by electricity to keep the little pieces of metal from going deeper into his body and entering his heart and killing him. So first of all, what Tony does, and after the encounter with the terrorists, of course, what the first thing that Tony Stark does is make himself an arc reactor, so which he did as just like a science fair project and to shut up people. He makes it for himself that could automatic, so he doesn't have to carry around a battery all the time. So he makes an arc reactor that can power itself and that can be magnetized in a sense that can stop the shards or pieces of little metal from going into his heart, which showed the genius of Tony Stark, which showed the creativity, the technology genius. Like he's not just a billionaire who was drunk off of booze and women and money. He was smart. It's just he wasn't, how do I say, he wasn't mature or something. He wasn't aware of the damage his technology was doing around the world. He was just partying all day and doing that kind of stuff, not really working as his company would say he works as hard or whatever. Now, so yeah, he makes the arc reactor for him, and he makes a suit, he escapes, gets home. Now, this front part was very, very short lived. This very front, starting in the movie, because there's a lot more of the movie, of course. They did a little thing where Tony Stark is in the car. The first scene you see is Tony Stark's in the car. He has a conversation with all the soldiers, and then he get attacked. And then they go back into flashback, and they show Tony Stark's life and how he's a billionaire. He's a playboy. He's partying all the time, and then he comes here. I feel like they could have just done that from the start. Like, just keep it straight. Why do you have to go back and then come back to the attack and then show him getting blown up or whatever? Just do it sequence. Like, what that? That's one thing that bothered me. Yeah, once he comes back home, he goes for the traditional American cheeseburger, calls a press conference and says, "My weapons are doing more harm than good, and I'm shutting it down." This doesn't set well with the villain, or aka Odias or whatever. So he gets the board on his side and pretty much locks out Tony from the company and all that stuff. And Tony traps himself in his basement while being all trustworthy on his partner, which, I mean, anyone would do, I guess. But I mean, he should have been so a bit smarter. Him being a genius and all should have seen that one coming in a sense, because well, because it's hard to kidnap someone being that powerful without any inside help, So, yeah, so Odias like locks himself out. While Odias is doing all that, Tony Stark is in his basement perfecting his design for his suit. Makes a brand new suit just so he could start saving people, and calls it a mission. So he says, "I don't care about earning money. I don't care about designing anything else or doing anything else except for like saving people and getting all my weapons back, so I don't feel like shit." Which sounded like a vigilante in a sense, which sounded like, okay, you've had a revelation, you've been sort of immature all your life and just wasting away, whereas now you're like, okay, I've lost a dear friend in that scientist that he met in the cave and stuff, and that died while he was escaping. He's felt real loss after a really long time, and that's sort of awakening him in the sense that, okay, maybe I should have taken more interest in my company, maybe I should take more interest in where my technology is going, who am I selling to and all that stuff. And he sees that and he just stops everything, which is a good thing. Yeah, so that's how you see Iron Man come to being. That's the story of Iron Man, apparently, where, he has a revelation and now he's on a mission to save people. Now, while he's saving, he deviates from it so quickly as soon as he goes to some random village to save a few people, because he sees the same people that kidnapped him terrorizing a village. He goes there, saves them, comes back, and then he's fooling around or not fooling around, sorry. He's escaping fighter jets, American fighter jets that are after him, that don't know who that thing is that they're trying to kill, but they're just trying to kill it, even though that thing did their job for them. But turns out he tells his friend calls it off, tells everyone that it was a training exercise. And I know I'm kind of summarizing the whole thing, but as I go, I'm kind of trying to tell you guys what I like and dislike. But I liked all those things, except for the fact that how quickly he deviated from his mission of saving people. I mean, I'm sure there's not in the universe of Marvel, and then in the universe at the time of when Iron Man came to being, I'm sure there wasn't just one terrorist group, there were more than one. He saved one village from one terrorist group and waltz on and be like, okay, I'm done. I don't feel like shit anymore. I'm gonna stop. And that's exactly what he did. He stopped. He came back and tells Pepper to steal files from Odias, which again I have an issue with. Pepper Potts' secretary is in the office of the CEO, who at the moment is Odias. She's at the computer. She's doing something. He waltzes in and is like, oh, and he just has a casual conversation while having a drink. Just because he sees that there's nothing going on the computer, just wallpaper. He's like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then she steals all the stuff. She steals the plans of his idea of making his own suit, the video of how Tony was kidnapped, and the video that terrorists made after Tony got kidnapped, and they tell Odias that, oh yeah, you told us to kidnap him and kill him, but we don't want to kill him. We're gonna use him now against you because you didn't pay us enough. So she sees all that, tries to tell people. Now this is closer to the climax. Now I have an issue with the climax because the climax is not big enough. The villain is just stupid. Like, don't let your files be that easily hacked and stolen, and if they are stolen, get them back quicker, or kill the person that took them, or have pay the people properly so they kill your main rival in the first place. Like, do something, be a proper villain. I felt like the villain had a good motive but did not live up to it. He had a motive of taking over the company, of being the rich man, of earning his sweat that he put into the company, and not just giving it away to the kid that was going to walk in after he turns 18 or 21 or whatever. The motive was there. I understood that, but the execution was not there, which I had an issue with. And don't get me wrong, overall I love this movie. It's just I have an issue with having a bad villain in a superhero movie. I just have a really big issue, and I thought the villain was not good. I'm sorry. Like, the motive was there, the storyline portrayed it good. You had the whole revelation of the hero being not a hero to having a revelation to becoming a hero and trying to save people, and then all of a sudden flipping. Well, I guess he didn't. I guess, okay, I don't want to contradict myself, but yeah, it felt like he flipped from being, okay, it's a mission, to saving people, to coming back and being like, okay, you know what, now I'm going to relax because I saved one village. That's what it felt like, just because there wasn't another scene where he tried to save someone else except for himself, or tried to kill the terrorist that he knew existed that had his tech. Pretty much, that's it. I understand his secondary motive was to destroy all the tech that was misused and but his tech was all around the world. I mean, there've been underhand dealings done by Odias since time. I'm sure billions of terrorists, not billions, but like thousands of terrorists would have their tech by now, just because Odias wanted to make money on the side, Anyways, the end was unpredictable to me, where, I mean, it was kind of a shock how Tony didn't die. They had the arc reactor blow up, which kills Odias, but Tony Stark is right on top of the arc reactor. Pepper Potts overloads it, so there's like an energy charge. Now that energy charge strikes Odias and completely misses Tony, just because Tony rolls. He rolls to the side, completely misses him, hits Odias, fries him like an electric shock. So he falls into the arc reactor and then blows up and kills himself. But I had a big issue there because Tony Stark was hanging from a ceiling while the arc reactor meltdown happened, and nothing happened to him. Like, there's no injury, no dire consequences. It was like walking away without a scratch. And yeah, that's heroism, I guess, in a sense. But I have an issue with that. There should have been at least a little bit of consequence. Like, oh, I got fried too. Now my suit is unable to do anything or something. I don't know. Something. I don't know. That I had another issue with that. Overall, I think the movie was really good in terms of introducing the character of Tony Stark, and then how the character of Iron Man is built up. And and how people around him affect him, how he's a playboy and then turned into a superhero and stuff. I like the movie overall. I had many issues with it, and because of the villain, I think I give this movie a solid 7.5 out of 10, just because of those issues. But then it had its moments, it had its good parts, and because of that, it still deserves like a 7.5. It's not lower than that, and the reason why it's not higher is because all the issues that I've mentioned. But anyways, guys, please let me know what you think about the movie in the comments below. I know it's an old one, but I'm sure you've tried to revisit Tony Stark in some shape or form. Let me, if you've watched this movie recently or want to watch it, and let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you had the same issues or different issues. Let me know if I'm right or wrong in the comments below, guys. Please do like and subscribe, guys. Please do support the channel, and I'm gonna see you next time. Your boy Big G out. Thank you.